Hey folks, welcome back to the Trinity Episcopal Church YouTube Bible study. Let's dig into the Gospel of Luke chapter 12, verses 13 through 21. This is often known as the parable of the rich fool. But just remember that the titles of those parables are not in the original Holy Scriptures. Those are just titles that we've ascribed to them later on. So in this passage, a man comes to Jesus and asks Jesus to be the judge and arbitrator between him and his brother to divide the family inheritance. And so Jesus then offers this parable, a teaching about money and wealth. And I'll read this part of it to you. The land of a rich man produced abundantly. And he thought to himself, "What should I do? For I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "I will do this. I will pull down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, 'Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this very night your life is being demanded of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be?' So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich toward God." This is a classic example of how a parable works. The story begins and it seems to be tracking on an even trajectory. This man is wealthy and successful. He is going to build some bigger barns, and it appears that he will be even more wealthy and successful. But parables get their name from the shape of a parabola, like you remember from algebra, and we end up in the opposite direction than we originally had thought we were going. And the man dies, of course, and God wonders what it was all worth for this man. This is an excellent lesson for us as we discern our own best stewardship of our financial resources, of our money, and of our wealth. What are we doing with our money? What are we doing with our financial resources? Are we serving God? Are we serving others? What is the point of this? Are we just building bigger barns for ourselves? And when is the barn actually big enough? I think that's one of the most pressing questions in this as we reflect on it with our own money is, when is enough enough? The other question that comes out of this for me is to read it more in a community setting. That reading I just described to you is very individualistic. So let's think about this in the time of Jesus. And I think that Jesus has the geopolitics of the world at the time in his mind. I think it's a criticism of the people of Israel that they had been relying too much on their own wealth, their own status, and they had bought too much into the project that was the Roman Empire. And Jesus is asking in a very provocative way, where is your trust? Where have you put your faith? Have you put it in the Roman Empire and in status and in wealth, or have you put it in God? And of course, the criticism is that they have put it in all of that other stuff and that won't keep them. Because as we know, just 40 years after Jesus, one generation later, the Romans do march into Jerusalem and tear the whole thing down. They burn the temple. This is the razing of Jerusalem in 70 AD. And I think we can read into this about this man, his life being demanded of him, "You fool." So those are some of my questions for you, is what are some of the ways that we, as a people, as a culture, as a nation, are using our resources well, or how are we using them poorly? Are we being rich toward God, or are we building up for ourselves? And that haunting question that we all need to ask ourselves, when is enough enough? Would love to hear what you have to say. Please know that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch some more videos. We'd love to journey with you in your own discipleship of the Lord Jesus. Thank you.